The tale of the MX-5 Miata began in the late 80s, a time when the affordable roadster market was practically non-existent. Mazda, however, saw an opportunity to revive the spirit of classic roadsters like the Lotus Elan and MGB, while incorporating modern Japanese reliability and engineering. Thus, the first-generation Miata was born. It instantly captivated the automotive world with its charming design, lightweight construction, and nimble handling. It had a front-mid engine for optimal weight distribution and sent all its power to the rear wheels. It came with a 1.6-liter inline-4 engine that produced 115 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque. This configuration, along with a curb weight of just over 2,100 pounds, made the Miata a joy to toss around the corners. Its independent double wishbone suspension on all four corners provided sharp handling characteristics. Mazda claimed a 0 to 60 time of 8.6 seconds and a top speed of 117 miles per hour. In 1994, a more powerful 1.8-liter engine was introduced. This engine produced 129 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque, and the weight of the car increased slightly to 2,180 pounds. These newer models also offered an optional Torsen limited slip differential, which was far more durable than the previous viscous differential. The Miata quickly became a sales success, exceeding Mazda's initial expectations. In its first 2 years alone, over 50,000 units were sold in the US, surpassing the combined sales of all other roadsters on the market. Its popularity continued throughout its production run, with numerous special editions introduced to keep the momentum going. One of the most sought-after special editions was the 1991 British Racing Green model, limited to just 250 units. This edition featured a unique green paint job, tan leather interior, and a Nardi wood steering wheel. Other notable special editions included the M Edition and the R Package, both offering unique styling cues and performance enhancements. Throughout its 8-year production run, the Miata single-handedly revitalized the roadster segment and inspired other manufacturers to follow suit. By the time production ended in 1997, over 430,000 units had been sold worldwide. Its legacy continues today, with the Miata remaining a popular choice for enthusiasts seeking an affordable, fun-to-drive roadster. It debuted in 1999 with a design that echoed the curves of the third-generation RX-7. While retaining the spirit of its predecessor, it featured several refinements and a few controversial changes. Perhaps the most noticeable change was the ditching of the pop-up headlights, a move made to comply with stricter pedestrian safety standards. It was sleeker and more aerodynamic and was also slightly wider than its predecessor, with a drag coefficient of 0.36. The engine options offered a modest power bump over the previous model. The standard 1.8-liter inline-4 produced 140 horsepower with 116 pound-feet of torque. The European and some Japanese models received a less powerful 1.6-liter variant. The suspension was tweaked for improved handling, and the brakes were upgraded for better stopping power. In 2001, Mazda released a facelift, and it included a number of exterior and interior changes, as well as some performance improvements. There was also a slight modification to the engine, along with minor upgrades to the intake and exhaust systems. These changes boosted power output to 152 horsepower in Japan, UK, and Australia, but only 143 horsepower in the US. In 2002, Mazda unveiled the MX-5 SP, a limited production model of 100 vehicles based on the facelifted models. It boasted a remarkable 200 horsepower and 206 pound-feet of torque. As of 2023, it remains the most powerful factory-released MX-5, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 in a mere 6 seconds. In 2004, Mazda introduced the highly anticipated Mazda Speed MX-5, known as the Roadster Turbo in Japan. This model was equipped with a turbocharged engine delivering 178 horsepower and 167 pound-feet of torque. This power boost propelled the Miata from 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds and to a top speed of 127 miles per hour, Its production was unfortunately curtailed due to a fire at the production facility, resulting in only 5,428 units being produced for the U.S. market. The second-gen Miata was a commercial success, continuing its tradition of being the best-selling two-seater sports car in the world, with over 290,000 units sold during its production run. Even today, it remains a sought-after car in the used market. It may have lost its pop-up headlights, but it gained a whole lot more in return. Unveiled in 2005, it was a significant departure from its predecessors. It drew inspiration from the 2003 Ibuki concept car and had a more refined design, a stiffer chassis, and a host of technological advancements. The interior, too, was a step up from the previous models, featuring higher quality materials, improved ergonomics, and a more driver-focused layout. One of the most significant innovations of this generation was the introduction of the power retractable hardtop variant. This model featured a folding hardtop roof that could be stowed away in the trunk in just 12 seconds. It came with different engine options depending on the region. In the US, the standard engine was a 2-liter 4-cylinder, producing 170 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque. This engine could be paired with either a manual or an automatic transmission with slightly less power at 158 horsepower. With the manual, you also had the option of limited slip differential for improved traction. Australia also received the 2-liter engine, but it came exclusively with a 6-speed manual and limited slip differential as standard. In Europe, buyers had 2 engine choices, the same 2-liter engine with 158 horsepower or a smaller 1.8-liter with 126 horsepower. Performance-wise, the US model with the 2-liter engine could accelerate from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. In Europe, Mazda claimed that the 1.8-liter model could do 0 to 60 in 9.4 seconds, while the 2-liter model could do it in 7.9 seconds. Additionally, its chassis was a marvel of engineering, utilizing a front wishbone and a rear multi-link suspension setup borrowed from the Mazda RX-8. This configuration, along with a lower center of gravity and a wider track, gave it exceptional handling characteristics. Throughout its production run, it received several updates and special editions. Like the 20th Anniversary Edition in 2010, the Black Special Edition, or the Kuro Edition in 2012, each catered to different tastes, offering bespoke colors, trim options, and performance upgrades. In terms of sales figures, it was a commercial success for Mazda, with over 230,000 units sold during its 10-year production. It cemented the Miata's reputation as a vehicle that delivered pure driving enjoyment without breaking the bank. Its influence can still be felt today, with many modern roadsters drawing inspiration from its winning formula. In 2015, Mazda unveiled the current generation of MX-5. It brought with it a striking new design language known as Kodo, Soul of Motion. The result was a sleek, sculpted body that was both modern and unmistakably MX-5. It was lighter than its predecessor, thanks to extensive use of high-strength steel and aluminum. This weight reduction, combined with a lower center of gravity, made it more agile and responsive than ever before. Under the hood, Mazda's Skyactiv technology shines through with a choice of 2 naturally aspirated petrol engines. The base model comes equipped with a 1.5-liter engine, delivering 129 horsepower, while the pre-2019 North American models boasted a 2-liter engine, generating 155 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque. In a move towards modernity, Mazda replaced the traditional hydraulic power steering with a new electric one. The 2019 model brought a substantial update to its 2-liter engine. It was now capable of producing 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque with a raised redline of 7,500 RPM. A dual-mass flywheel was also introduced for a smoother power delivery. Mazda unveiled a 30th Anniversary Edition at the 2019 Chicago Auto Show. Limited to just 3,000 units globally, the US was initially allocated 500 models, but due to high demand, Mazda increased this to 643. Canada received 165 units, Australia 30, and the Philippines 30, including the final 3,000th unit. This special edition allowed enthusiasts to celebrate the Roadster's rich heritage in a uniquely stylish and exclusive way. This new MX-5 has continued the model's legacy of success, with sales figures consistently exceeding expectations. As it continues to evolve and improve, it is clear that the Miata's legacy is in safe hands, ensuring that the Jinba Itai philosophy will live on for generations to come.